Hey, I hope you're enjoying these videos, these episodes that we're making. Thanks for clicking on it today. Make sure you go ahead and share this and tag a friend so they can see this as well. This part of Battle Ready is on prayer. Today I'm going to give you 4 principles on our prayer life that you can live by. You can take it to the bank. This is what Jesus wants us to involve in prayer. So grab your pen, grab your notepad. Let's get battle ready. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about 4 principles of prayer. If you do have your Bible handy, go ahead and turn to Matthew chapter 6. We're going to look at verses 5 through 8. All right? Now, it says here, this is Jesus speaking. We have to find this context that Jesus is talking to the disciples, right? I'll give you 4 principles found in these scriptures. He says, and when you pray, and this is principle number 1, you need to pray regularly. It shouldn't be once a year at a family reunion somewhere. We should pray regularly. Jesus said, when you pray. He said, you must not be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and at the street corners, that they may be seen by others. So this is like hypocritical, like they want to show that they're praying. He says, truly I say unto you, they have received their reward, but when you pray, go into your room and shut the door and pray to your Father in secret. Principle number 2, pray privately. Now, Jesus is not saying don't pray in public. He's saying don't let the only time you do pray be in public so you can be seen by others. He tells the disciples, when you pray, go somewhere. Pray privately. Get in your closet, shut the door. Do it when people can't see, because there's reward in that. He says, because your Father who sees in secret will reward you. And when you pray, do not heap up empty phrases as the Gentiles do. Number 3, pray sincerely. Don't pray, as the King James Version says, with vain repetitions. Don't pray the same thing. There are religions that you probably are familiar with, or people that you've heard before. They pray systematically the same thing over and over and over. Now, there's nothing wrong with praying things more than once. But when it becomes remember I told you last episode that prayer is not a religious thing. Religion is actually the enemy of God. Prayer is a relational thing. It's a relationship, right? So when you pray, don't use vain repetitions. Pray sincerely. The last thing is this. He says, don't do these empty phrases, because the Gentiles do that, right? Your Father knows what you have need of before you ask. So if God already knows what you have need of before you ask, we still have to, because you have a bunch of needs. But right now you need this. So the number 4th principle of prayer is pray specifically, right? So let me give you those 4 again. Number 1, pray regularly. Number 2, pray privately. Number 3, pray sincerely. Number 4, pray specifically. You can't just shoot shotgun prayers up into the heavens and cover a multitude of things, because there are specific things that you need. If you're sick, you need healing. If you have a financial need, you need to tell God, right? You need to make it specifically. Now, let me give you some base scriptures for a couple of these things. If you look down in where principle number 2 is privately, Jesus prayed in the mountains. He prayed all, in the garden. He prayed all different kinds of places. Now, specifically where he was getting ready to go to the cross, you remember he was at the Garden of Gethsemane. He prayed privately. He took Peter, James, and John, and he prayed by himself. He didn't stand in front of a bunch of people. He didn't make a big deal out of the prayer. A lot of times he just prayed all by himself. He prayed with a small group. He didn't want to make a big deal out of it, right? So Mark chapter 6, verse 46, Jesus prayed in a mountain, right? It was a big, big deal. The 3rd principle there, sincerely. James chapter 5, verse 16 says, the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man or woman makes tremendous power available. So don't just go and just pray, well, I did my duty today. I just prayed the same thing. No, He wants you to pray sincerely. Heartfelt prayers move God, right? The last thing is this, pray specifically, right? Matthew chapter 6, verse 32, we already know that God knows everything that we have need of, so we need to be specific in our prayers. And then James chapter 4, verse 2, we saw it last episode, that we have not because we ask not. We don't have what we need because we don't ask. Prayer is a big deal with God. Get in your closet today. Get in a private place. Do it regularly, do it privately, do it sincerely, and do it specifically. And I hope that your prayer life changes your life, because I know it will.